I'm ready.
Hey y'all, it's Bobby, and I am back with my next design team project for Country Craft Creations. This one is using, again, the Fruit Paradise by Prima. And this is my project. Actually it's two projects. I have made a box, and I did this quilted strips, and I thought it was so cute. It goes all the way around. And this is Tamara's, I don't know what she calls this. It's some kind of a dotted Swiss tulle. It's so pretty. She has it in several different colors. So it opens like this, and I just put the ribbon there to keep the album from coming out when you want it to stay put. And then I put this little pull on it, and everything that I've used here is available at Country Craft Creations. So on the front cover, I have made 3 little envelopes. These 2 are glued shut, but this one actually opens if you want to put a little note in it, and it just tucks under the other one. I used some of the enamel dots to look like fasteners. These little flowers also came from Tamara, and this is some of the seam binding. I used most of it up on the first album, or the folio that I made. This little clock was in my stash, and I just put a piece of seam binding and some baker's twine on there. This was out of the ephemera, and I just added some sequins from my stash. And then I cut 3/4-inch strips just to decorate the edge of it. On the side, of course, I have this little door plate and knob, and I just left the back plain green. I wanted this to be real light and airy and summery looking, so I didn't do a whole lot of embellishing on it, but I thought it was really pretty. I just love the colors in this. So this is 6 3/4 this way, 4 3/4 this way, and it has I think it's 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch spine. And I do have a cut list made, and I'll have it in the description box. This Matchbox and album idea came from a lady by the name of Gea Loosman. She had sent it to me on my Facebook page on Make Mine a Mini, and I asked her if she would care if I made it in a larger size, because hers was really small and she's absolutely not. So I made it a little bit larger. Hers is like, I don't know, 3.5 by 4.5, or even smaller. I can't remember exactly. It's really cute. It's adorable, but it's just, I don't like to make stuff that small. It's just too tedious for me. But anyway, I have added some metal embellishments here from Butterbee Scraps. I put a little pearl right in the center, and I just made some tags in photo elements. I just put some strips on these just to decorate them a little bit, but I left them pretty plain so that you can put a photo on one side and then journal on the opposite. And there's just a photo mat. I have used pink, green, craft, white, and yellow for my cardstock. And the only thing that is not from Tammy's store is the green, the pink, and the yellow. I did contact Tammy first, and she said that was fine to pull some out of my stash because this one didn't have any solids with it. So I made 3 little pockets for this one, and I just put a piece of the cardstock in there like that. It'll hold plenty of photo mats, and you can put larger ones in this. And then I just made some with the scraps that I had left. And then on the back side of page 1, I have a little pull tab there that opens this way, and I have another photo mat and tag in there, and it just closes back and ties up with a string. And these are just brads that are flat on the top so that you can put enamel dots on them, and I had the enamel dots in my stash too. Now that I think of it, that wasn't from Tamara either. Here's another pocket. And then on the back side of page 2, I have this little flap, and I just took one of the embellishments and backed it on some pink cardstock. It opens this way, and you can put more photo mats and tags, whatever you want to put in these. Oh, I forgot to paper the back side. I always forget something, don't I? Huh? And this just slides in there to hold it shut, and there are no magnets in this one. I know a lot of people don't like magnets. I do like them, but I try to do some without magnets for the people who don't want to use them so that they can see what you can do without them. Another photo mat in this pocket. And then on the back side, I just did this little photo mat, and I used a decorative punch from Martha Stewart. I like this little stripe so well, that's what made me decide to do it to the outside of the box. And then on the outside, on the last page, the inside back cover, I have 2 tags and a photo mat. So I thought it turned out so cute. I really like it. I do have one more idea to finish up with this paper. I don't have a whole lot left. I have quite a few scraps, but nothing really big. So I'll see what I can do with what I have left. I do want to use it up. But it just sits back in the box. Like that. And then tie it up. And that's all there is to it. Alright, I thank you for watching. I hope you'll try to make one yourself. If you do, please post some photos and tag me so I can see what you made. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye. Alright, this is the second tutorial on the Fruit Paradise by Prima, and it is a Country Craft Creations design team project. I have 2 pieces of cardstock that are 12 by 7 1/4, I think. Let me double check. Yep, 7 1/4. And then I have 2 pieces of lightweight chipboard that are 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 by 7, and 2 pieces that are 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. Now this is going to be for the Matchbox. I've drawn a 1-inch line here so I can get it straight because I'm somewhat compromised that way. So let me make sure my score tape sheets are down good and tight before I try to pull them off. And one more. I save all my scraps, as you can see, and sometimes piece them together. Okay. So I'm going to put this one down first because I want the seam to be down the center a bit. And I've just seamed these 2 pieces of cardstock together with our glitter glue, just like maybe 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to put this piece right over my line as straight as I could get it. And burnish that down. Then I'm going to put the next piece, and this is going to be the box that holds the little album. I'm having trouble getting up under here. I don't want to do it. There we go. I try not to touch this any more than absolutely necessary so I don't lose all my sticky. Now on this piece, when I make boxes, I don't leave a 1/4 inch because that just seems like too much to me. If you sit it down by the piece that, well, here, I'll do this side first so you can see. Hopefully you can see. This is kind of a long piece. If you sit it right down beside this piece and along your 1-inch mark, and just kind of let it fall into place. You'll have to kind of guide it to keep it straight. But that is, well, that didn't leave me no gap at all. Darn it. I hope that's going to be okay. I didn't guide it very well. But it doesn't need much of a gap at all. because you actually want it to be flush. So if this doesn't work like I want it, I'll cut out another one. I figure it's only paper after all. It's not the end of the world. So this one I'm just going to do it myself where I know I want it. Just a little gap like that. Because when you stand it up, you want it to close the gap. This one's going to be kind of tight. Yeah. I might have to cut a little piece of my chipboard out there. We'll see how it does. Let me turn it around. We want the next long piece. On some boxes, you know, you may want a bigger gap, but on this particular one, I don't, and dang it, that's crooked. I'm going to have a time with this one, I'm telling you. I'm not doing very good with it, with my other. Oh, I already put it down. What a goof I am. Okay, so we need 1 inch all the way around. So let me cut this off at 1 inch. There's my trusty knife. Alright, let's save that for another project. Alrighty. Scoring tool, bone folder, whatever you want to call it. If this isn't squared away, then if I can't force it into position, then I'll just scrap it and make another one. Okay. So let's fold over these edges. This is the lightweight chipboard. I like to use it on boxes because it doesn't take up a lot of space. And you know how it is with bulk, the less you have, the better off you are. Push that into the chipboard and burnish it down. Now we got the long piece. So I'm going to kind of help it along with my fingers. Get it up to the chipboard. And then we'll burnish it as well. And let's do the other side. Roll it over again. Okay. Now we can cut out our corners just like we do on an album. I think I got more than 1 inch over here. Let me see. I don't think I need all this much over here. That was the I did, yeah, I've got a little excess here. Let's just cut it off. Here's my other knife. This one's not quite as sharp as that other one that I got from Tammy. I really like that other one. Okay, so now let's cut out our corners. I knew that looked a little bit long there. So we'll cut it right on our little score lines. I like to have my albums in a box because it keeps them so nice and clean. And I've told you before, I'm not a fan of dusting. I know I have to do it, but I don't have to like it. So it just makes it easier to keep them clean. And when they're sitting out in the open, dust can get down inside the pages, and with a box, that doesn't happen. So there is that. So what's going to happen is this is going to close up like this once I wrap it. Let me score in here. Try to force it in there. There, that helped. Okay, so this is going to fold this way. So let's see if we can get a edge on it. And make sure my chipboard matches. It's hard to tell till it's wrapped. So let's bend that over. Burnish it and help those edges along. And one more time. It should be. Alright. So we're going to put just white on here. I'm going to keep the inside very plain because if I use my designer paper, I might run out. I don't want to do that. So these are going to attach like this, and we'll put an end on one. This side will be open, and the album will sit inside the box. Isn't that cool? See, and I'll put a handle on it so you can grab a hold of it and pull it out. Now hers was, the Gea's was open on both sides, but I want to close mine on one side. Now this one piece we can glue down. This one will wrap to the outside, and then it'll be covered with designer paper, like so. Cool. Now I want to wrap this before I cut the piece that closes up the other side. Make sure I get a perfect measurement, because this is the first time I'm making this particular box, so I have to do it step by step. Let me get my 1/2-inch score tape here, and we're going to do it just like an album cover. And I got to check my edges to make sure I don't have any hangover there, just like we do on an album cover. I was going to use design paper on the inside, but I thought, man, what if I run out? I've still got outside of the box and an album cover, an album to do, even the inside pages, so I better hang on to that. So that's the reason I'm going to keep the inside of the box plain. If I had more paper, I would do it the other way. Alright. And one short end. Okay, now let me check these edges and make sure we don't want any droopy hangovers. And check the long ones. Yeah. Just on the corner there. This one's not too bad. And let's check down here. going to glue this in just yet, but it still needs to be trimmed up and make sure that it's going to wrap nice without any hanging over the edges. Okay, now let me check this long one. No, I don't cut straight at all. Okay, there's that. Get rid of this forte. Now, let's take these long ends out. Actually, it might be a good idea to go ahead and wrap these first so that you don't have this edge up here. Make sure it's not too wide, because I don't want it to buckle. I think it's okay. So let's cover these first. Now, as I give you measurements, don't worry about writing them down because you'll have the cut list posted for you. You don't have to write any of this down. There's that. And this one. Now, I'll give you the link to Gea's site and her name in the description box. She sent this to me on my Facebook page, Make Mine a Mini, and I just thought it was so cute. And I said, would you mind if I increase the size and make it just a little bit larger? Because I think hers was like 2 1/4 by 3 1/4 or something like that. It was real little, but it was so cute. She said, absolutely not, go right ahead. So that's what I'm making. But I want you to take a look at hers too, because it's really cute. Okay. Now let's put some art glitter glue along this chipboard seam here. And let's roll this in. And hopefully this will work out to make a nice balanced box. And just bring this on in. Burnish it down. Nice straight edge there. I'm hoping I didn't screw it up too bad. It's nice when you have something in your head and you know what you want it to be, and then it actually works out that way. But it doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong here? Try as hard as you might. Okay, and push it right up against your chipboard. And then start at the center and just roll it on in. I thought it would be better to do it this way than not to have those raw edges sitting here as you slide it in and out. Okay, now this short end. Corner. So when we make the box, this. This will wrap over. Hey, it's going to be okay. And it will wrap like that. And then we'll have, oh, this is not glued down real good right here. Let me give it another burnish. It will go like that. Now I need to cut the back piece. And it's going to need to be trying to hold this close so I can get a good measurement on it. 2 1/4, same as the others, which is what I thought, but I wanted to make sure. 2 1/4 by 7 should be. Yep. Okay, 2 1/4 by 7. I've got a piece right here. And cut it 2 1/4 by 7. Just take me a second here. Get a piece of the white cardstock out here. I've got some scraps. And we'll just cut a piece of white and we'll go ahead and wrap that and get it on there. So let's make it 4 1/4 by 9. We have an inch all the way around. You got the phone, babe? Okay, 9. 4 1/4. Don't have room on my table for the cutting thingy. So let's mark an inch off the edge. And an inch here. That's all we need. I'm just going to use art glitter glue for this one. I use these score tape sheets on everything else, the album and the box. But this is handy, and it's just one little piece, so it'll be okay. So I'm just going to put it right where it matches up here. Finally, I got one straight. Little wonders never cease. Let me get some pins here. Okay, we're going to score around the edges here. glue this while we're waiting. I'll let this set up and dry a little bit. So I'm going to put plenty of glue on here. So I want this little turkey to stay where I put it. Okay. So let's close this box up. Make sure it's lined up on both sides. Put clothespins in here. Okay, I'm going to let that sit, and you see how this bulges a little bit, but it won't once I get this back on it. It'll pull it all together. At least that's my plan. Oh, I didn't roll these, did I? Get ahead of myself. The fourth side. Okay, let's cut these corners out. Okay, I got glue on my scissors. I need to clean them. They're giving me a little resistance there. And I want to thank you guys for the kind comments that I've received. I mean, sometimes it just about breaks tears to your eyes because people are so nice. They just say the nicest things about the projects. And, you know, you never know. If you don't see somebody post that they've made your project, you don't know if you've helped somebody or not, or if they even liked it. So then when you get those comments, it's like, oh my gosh, that is so nice. Just really nice. And I do appreciate it. I love hearing what you guys think. Let's trim these corners. Yeah, see, I've got glue or something on there. I'll have to clean those here in a minute. And there's that one. It's okay. And this is okay on the edge, but it's a little winged out there. And just kind of lay your scissors up along your chipboard so that you don't get into the corner, and just angle it towards the inside a little bit. Make sure that you get a clean edge. I'm going to let that sit up a few more minutes before I try to put this. But this is just going to wrap over the outside like so, and then across the top and the bottom. And that will close that up so that, oh, let me get a piece of white to put in here. That won't look too good, will it? That was 2 1/4 by 7. Almost forgot that. That wouldn't look too good to Look inside the box and see all that brown, huh? Almost forgot it. Okay. There's that. Okay. I'm going to let this set up. Lay this aside for now. And the album is, what did I do with the album? Right here. The album is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and the spine is 1.5 by 6 3/4. But once you get it, your 1/4 inch spacers in there, it makes it 2 inches, but the chipboard is actually cut 1.5. So that's a little album. I haven't done anything with the inside yet, but I had to make it first so I knew the dimensions of the box. So I am going to double mat the outside. I had this from in my stash, this green, and I'm going to use that as my first mat because most of the paper has a white background and it wouldn't look too pretty to have white on white. So I'm going to ink those and put those on, and after this sets up, then I'll be back with you. Okay, for the album, I put the green cardstock on there like I told you I was going to do. I just went around the edges. I first did, which one was it? It was one of the green ones by Tim Holtz. It was peeled paint, and it kind of had a yellowy cast against this green. So then I went back around it with frayed burlap. So that's what you see on the dark edge there. Whoops, whoop. I'm knocking everything down. Those little tools are round and they will roll right off the shelf. So for the inside of the album, and you'll have these measurements for this 3-page spine on the cut sheet. The first score is at, let me see, what did I say? Let me pull it up here on the computer real quick. The first score, Hinge. The first score was at 1 1/4, then 1.5, and this is all printed out for you. So from the 1 1/4 actually is folded under. This is the 1.5 here, and then every one is a 1/2 inch till you get your 3 spines. Then you have a 1/4 inch again, and 1 1/4 inch that turns under on this side, so it gives you a finished edge. But this is all printed out on your cut list. And I just put a piece of cardstock down over the spine. I first put a piece of white cardstock in here just to cover the center. Then I put a piece of the design paper and then the spine. And we'll get to this later, but I wanted to show you the pages. There's just going to be 3, and there will be flaps, so, but I cut them like file folders, sorta. And these are the pages. I think I have it written down, but let me measure just to make sure. They are 6.5 by 4.5, and then I came in 1.5 inch, punched it with my envelope board, turned it over 1.5 on this side, and then I put it in my little small Fiskars trimmer and just trimmed from punch line to punch line. Then I cut this just a little bit smaller, like I always do, and when I went to the punch board, I put this at 1 3/8, flipped it over, and 1 3/8 again, so it gives you a little border at the top. Then on the back side, the back side of the page, which is 7.5 long, so that you can score a half. And we'll go over this again, but I just wanted to show you. Then I have a contrasting 2-inch strip to go inside there. And when you glue this down, you'll see the yellow behind it. This is actually page 1, that's page 2. This one will be like this, with pink behind it. And then page 3 is the apples with green behind it. And we'll do those together. But that's what I've done so far, is just cut this out. And then I wanted to show you the box. I cut the piece that's going to close this off, and I'm just going to glue it on all 4 sides around here. That way when you slide your book in, it'll be like that. Let me take the pages out so I can show you how it's going to fit. It will actually slide in the box like this. What's it catching on? Oh, that cardstock there. And I'm going to put a little handle on here so that you can grab and pull it out. But I think I need to put a piece of tape across here just to make that slide easier. It's kind of catching on that edge. So it might have been better if I'd have put that other piece on top. I wasn't thinking about that when I did this. But once you get the back piece in, it's going to be hard to slide that without it catching. So I'll put a piece of tape in there just to make that smooth, just a piece of cellophane tape, and it's not going to show, just to cover that edge there, actually to cover this one. That's what it's catching on. So I will do that, and I will glue this on, and then I'll come back and we'll make our pages together. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll be back shortly. Okay, let's put our pages together. Here is what we have for page 1. Now on each one of them, the pockets go together like this. And I have cut a piece of solid cardstock, just like 1.5 to 2 inches deep, to go inside here. So we'll glue that down. Now the back side of each page is a little bit different, but everything is real quick and simple. It's just a small, easy project to make that can be done really quick. So I'm just going to center this between my 2 scores, just like 1/8 of an inch below the edge. It didn't have to go all the way down. We don't need all that extra bulk anyway. So we'll add this. Oops, why am I getting that? We need to add the white piece. That wasn't too smart. And we're going to leave the bottom open because that goes on the hinge. So we just want to glue the 2 sides down. Match them up at the corners. And then on this side. And then I have this paper cut for the front. Leaves just a little white border. And I've inked all the edges with frayed burlap. Tim Holtz ink. Distress pad, I think it was. It might be an oxide, I'm not sure. I think it's... I'll look here in just a second and get my glue on here. Some of them are distress oxide. The newer ones are. There's that. And those colors pretty together. These solids are just scraps that I had in my stash. So this is our pocket that goes on the hinge. And when we turn it over, I have this cut with this little border. So we'll put those down. Oh, wait a minute, before we do that, almost got ahead of myself. I have two little flaps here, and I'm going to put them off to the side a little bit like this. They are, and they're on your cut list, they're 1 3/4 by 4. So, we're going to put these down, and you don't have to trim the edges because they're not going corner to corner. You make sure, where's my ruler? There it is. Make sure this is even at the top, and it is just a little over 1/2 inch from the side. So we'll put the other piece at the bottom. Match it up. Our little design paper on it. I'm just looking to see if it had really a right way up or down, and it doesn't really make any difference because the flowers go every which way on this paper. So pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. So let's put this one underneath. Actually, I'm going to put my border down first. My little strip. This is just a 1/2 inch strip. And I've used as many scraps as I can on this because I have a third project coming up, and I want to make sure I have enough of the whole sheets for it because it's going to take some pieces that are a little bit bigger. There's that. Now the larger one. Goes right there. And then we've got two little pieces that are 1.5 by 1. And I'm going to glue this to the top of that. There are no magnets in this album at all. So I'm going to put just glue along the two edges just a tiny bit. I don't want it to seep out too much. And we're going to place this on here. Just center as best you can, like so. And I'll have to go through my embellishments to see what I got I can use as my stopper for this. But I cut a scrap piece of paper. Make it even. Just to show you what it's going to look like, and this might be too wide. No, it's okay. This will slide down under. Oops. And down into that one. And that will hold her closed. So that is number 1. Now number 2. Same process. Got yellow for this one. I've mitered the tops on that piece, on each of them, so that you don't have that edge sticking up. About did the same thing. Goodness gracious. Just grab the next one to you and start gluing it. Alright, let's get first things first. Corner. Right here. Now glue for this one. Get a step ahead of myself here. And there we go with that one. That yellow kind of brings out the color in the butterflies, huh? Okay, on the back side, we have a little flap that's going to go up here at the top, and a pocket that's going to go at the bottom. But first, we need to glue down our no, we don't. Let me poke the hole in this first. I want to go half an inch. So I'm going to lay my ruler right here so I can make a straight mark at a ½ inch. Is it going to show? And center of this is 2 3/4. So we need it to be 1 3/8. I think. We'll see what it looks like. Looks pretty good to me. Okay. And then this one, we can actually, let's trim this off. We're going to trim our corners like we always do on a pocket. And just take a little off here without cutting into your score line. So let's make our pocket. This is going to go on the pocket like this. So you can go ahead and glue that down. The bottle's oozing. For some reason they do that sometimes. It's not overly full, so that's not the problem. Sometimes it does that. I'll get a baby wipe and clean it off so it doesn't get too goopy. There's that. Get a baby wipe real quick. We're ready for the next part. Okay. Lay this over here. Now on this one, I want to poke a hole. Actually, let me lay it. Well, no. I need to poke the hole first so I can hide the brad. Let me poke my hole right there. And this is going to go right like that. I'm going to poke it again. Okay. Now I'm going to grab a brad. I'll use these silver ones because they're the ones that are flat on the top and you can stick an enamel dot on them, so I'll use those. Okay. Oh, I hadn't cut any paper for the back side. That's what's wrong with that. I kept thinking, why can't I bury that? That's why. I haven't cut paper for the back of it yet. I'll catch that next. Oops. So we can put the paper on here. And our little brad will go in here. I have to cut something for the back side of this. I wasn't even thinking about that. Okay, now let's put this up at the top. Put it off to the side a little bit. Oops, there's Mr. Fly. He needs to leave me alone. I'm going to put a hole in this one off to this side. And put my other brad in here. Go away, Fly. He's being a real pain. Okay, we get a little piece of tape. It's a little piece. I got some Scotch tape over here, yeah. I just want to cover the back side of the brad so things don't get caught on it. And it won't show at all, but it'll keep things from getting stuck on the edge of it. Okay, now we can put down our green. Just leave yourself a little border. And now we can put down our pocket. bottom. And this will have a piece of baker's twine from here to here. So that is 2. Actually, let me see what candy dots I got here. I call them candy dots. They're enamel dots. Let me see. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn my air back on. I hope it doesn't bother you guys. Everybody else in the house is getting hot. It heats up in here pretty quick. Okay, let's see. That's not the right green. I don't like the orange or the red. The color kind of looks good. No. Wrong. Here's some more greens. Those look kind of good on there. I think I'm going to go with those. These came from one of the Echo Park, but I think it was a Christmas collection. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly. Put a little glot of glue. Little dot of glue. Let's put that in there. Oh, that's the tiny one. Let me get the next size bigger. See if that works better. Oops. I said sitting down and it jumped right up and stuck to my hand. There we go. My glue set up too quick. I always add a little glue to these because they can dry out and pull up on you. Okay, there's those. And I'll cut a piece for that and I'll find some baker's twine here in a bit. Okay, third one. Same process on the front. You're gonna love the backward side when I show you what I did. It's so cute. Okay. This is the top where I've mitered it. So let's get the glue on it. Maybe yes, maybe no. Never fails, does it? I can be here all day and it doesn't ring. As soon as I start a video, it wants to ring. Okay. Front piece. these go together. Like I've said before many times, the amount of time you spent measuring and cutting and inking is way more than the assembly time. Just way more. Get out of frame here. And there's that one. These colors are so pretty together. Okay, on the back side. I cut a piece 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 so that I'd have an edge left all the way around. Then I took all my strips and I did that. I really like it. I think it is so pretty. I just I drew a line to get it straight from corner to corner, and I just started layering my scraps of strips, and they're not all the same width. I think that gives it more interest. But I'm just going to glue that down. I thought it turned out so cool. You hate to throw stuff away if you can use it, you know. And I thought, well, let's give this a shot. That's what I came up with, but I really like it. And I inked all the edges before I laid down the strip, so it gives each piece a little more definition. And there is that. And then I just cut one small photo mat. These points down. Okay. I'm not going to glue it down yet because I may want to position it off center some way depending on what embellishment I use when I get ready to embellish. But that is our 3 pages. See how quick they came together? Now what I'm going to do next is wrap the outside of the box and the album cover, and I will come back and explain to you what I've done, and then we'll do the embellishments and all of that, and we'll put the pages in the book. Alright, thanks, and I will see you soon. Okay, we're ready for the inside of the book now. I cut out my papers for the inside of the covers, glued those down, and I just put a little small pocket over here, and I set it up a little bit from the bottom and both sides. And I just wanted to show you before I put the other one down. I just added a little strip of the green cardstock to kind of set it apart like that, and that'll give us a little tuck spot, and I'll make some more inserts for that, and you'll see it in the walkthrough. I'm trying not to take too much time with this video. My last one was 2 hours, which is a lot for me. And I don't want people to get bored and tired, but yet I don't want to leave out information that you all might need. So I try to keep all of that in mind. But, you know, you can always pause it and restart it when you're ready and go back to where you left off. Watch it multiple times if that's what you want to do. If you feel like you missed something, you know, just go back to it. So that's the beauty of having them recorded. Okay, now I have my pages done, and you've already seen them. 1, 2, and 3. I did the back of this just with another piece of the green cardstock because I had missed that before. And added my cord. This one you have seen. And I just took one of the little die cuts, backed it on cardstock, and used that for my closure. And then there's page 3, and I just added a die cut here with some craft cardstock behind it and one of the little gold embellishments that Tammy had sent me. And each one of these will sit right over this hinge like that. And I'll glue those down in a bit. I don't want to do it right this minute because I don't want to take all your time. But you'll put glue on both sides, slip it over there, and make sure you have a good burnish on it so that it stays in place. But I wanted to show you the what I have for the album cover. I am going to put on the front 3 little strips like this on the side, over here towards the edge, just almost touching, but with just a little tiny gap between them. And then I cut out 3 tiny little envelopes using the mini punch board. It's somewhere around here. And I'm going to stagger these on the corner with some other little embellishments. Only one of them will open. I have a watch here I thought I might add. I'm not sure. I'm still kind of playing around with the cover, but I'll show you that on the walkthrough as well. Let me lay this aside, and I want to show you this part while it's fairly flat. I cut a strip to go down the spine. It's just slightly smaller. And then I've had this door plate. This is Graphic 45, and I got it quite some time ago from Tammy. I hope she still has them in her shop. I'm not sure, but I'm sure you can find them multiple places. But I marked my holes. I think it may be, no, it goes this way. I should have actually put this on before I did the hinge on the inside, but I didn't. So what I'm going to do is attach it here with some E6000 and run my brads through here and then add it down. So let's do that real quick. I'm not crazy about this E6000 just because, oh, this is the back side. I had to look at it and make sure. Put a little up here. This stuff strings like hot glue does. And that's my one dislike for hot glue, is the way it, where's my cap? Gosh, I don't know what I did with the cap. I just took it off. Well, let's hope it don't run out. I'll find it here in a minute. So I gotta get this down. So let's turn this over and match up our holes. I just placed it where I wanted it, and then marked my holes with a pencil, and then I went back through and punched it with a little hole punch with this little guy here. So I'll put these first 2 in here, make sure I've got it straight. Work with me here, little fellers. Mash it down here. And this one, I can see where to separate them. There it goes. And I hope a bunch of that glue doesn't ooze out. I wanted to have something, oh, there it is. I wanted to have some way to grab a hold of this when I put it in the box. So this will serve the purpose. And then the knob goes right on there. And I will separate these somehow. There it is, I think. Oh, it's hard to get them. And my nails break so easy. They're tough. Okay, I'm going to mash them down best I can. Okay, and then that will sit on there, and when I get it in the box, then I'll be able to pull it out. Have something to grab a hold of. So let me get some hard glitter glue on here. Sure I get plenty, so measurements are kind of heavy. So let's get that position right where I want it. Oops. I always have something all over me. So there's that. I'm going to set this aside and let it dry before I add anything to the front cover. But I really like that, and when you put it in the box, then you'll have some way to grab a hold of it and pull it out. It's kind of cool, huh? I like it. Okay, I like this quilted effect so much that I decided to do it with the outside of the box. So I wanted to share that with you before I stop the video. I cut out my pieces to fit the box like this, just to leave myself a white border, just a small one. And then I drew a line from one corner to the next, and I started laying out my strips. Now when I got to the spine, I laid it right up beside it so I could pretty much match it up so it looks like a continuation, kind of like a quilt. So now I'm ready for the other piece. So I'm going to put this one up here so I can do my last piece. And I'm going to lay it right up beside it. Get my ruler and pencil. And I'm going to follow this line right here. And I'm going to draw a line down here. And that's where I'll start with this gray. So let me find a piece of gray that's long enough for that. This one will do it. Right there. And I do burnish the edges on each one. It just kind of gives it more of a dimensional quilted look. I don't mean burnish, I meant ink. Now when you glue it down, make sure that this edge covers up here. Don't do it like this, because then you've got all these little wasted pieces. Put it close to where you want it to be, glue it down, and then we'll trim it off on this end. And we'll go all the way around and trim them off. So I'll put that one down. Lay it right along your pencil line. The first one you pretty much have to glue on the back of this strip, but after I get a ways down, I put the glue on the paper, on the mat. Otherwise, I'd have glue all over my score pile, and I don't want to do that. So there's the first piece. So see, that matches there. So now we need a piece of the tan. Save all your little pieces. This is the tan. No. I'm going to find a tan piece. It doesn't have to be the same, but I kind of like it to be. Let me find a piece. This one's going to be too short. Here's a piece. Aha. I found one. I cut a bunch of strips to fill in because I had a lot of pieces left from pages that I had cut. So that will go right here. Then after that we need the apple. And I think it's pretty wide. Yeah, we can use that here. piece of the pink. So let me ink this. And a piece of the pink. A little gingham. Okay. Now you can actually apply the glue to the page. I really like this effect. I think it's so cool. Okay, so let's put the tan down. Right to the edge. The apple. And the pink. Just burnish it real good. Turn it over and cut them off. Okay, and that's how that goes, and I'll just work my way up to the top, and then I will come back with a walkthrough and show you the finished project. I just really love this paper. It turned out so pretty. So I will be back shortly and I will show you the finished project. And thank you for watching. And I do hope that if you make one of these, you will post your photos on Country Craft Creations and share them with all of us and tag me so that I know you've posted, and I love to see what you guys make. Alright guys, see you later.